Alzheimer's disease and dementia is something I think that scares people, possibly even more than cancer.
It is scary, Joe. I mean, you love your parents and you watch them start to go away. They're no longer really present the way they were. That must be one of the biggest nightmares for any of us.
And people do live with it often for quite an extended period of time. So even though we do have deaths each year from dementia, it can be after 5, 10, sometimes even 20 years.
Wow.
When people only live to about the age of 30 or 40, obviously we didn't have these problems, so it is a function of age, but it's not just a function of age, because there are people who live to 100 and beyond who don't get Alzheimer's. So it's not completely understood. What we are seeing though, and interestingly these figures don't attract a lot of media attention,
is good news.
Good news is that the rates are actually declining. What they found is in the United States was that over the course of a decade, the percentage of people over the age of 65 with Alzheimer's had fallen from about 11.6% to 8.8%. So that's nearly a 25% in relative terms drop. It's
What's the silver bullet?
Drop.
There must be a magic pill.
Yes, well, you'd think so, but no, there isn't. In fact, most of the medications that have been on the market for Alzheimer's, they don't do very much, and there have been a few others that have not got beyond stage 2 or 3 trials because they just haven't really done anything.
Okay.
So this decrease, and I think it's important to note that total numbers may still be increasing, because as the population of those over 65 gets bigger, then obviously 8% might be still a bigger number than 11% of a smaller number. But what this trend is showing, and it was shown in the UK and it was shown in Europe, and there's been other work that's shown a gradual decline each decade for about 30 to 40 years, is that even though we have an ageing population, we are going to have less people with Alzheimer's than would have A, been expected, or B, likely to be the case. And if these rates of decline continue, and there's nothing at the moment that suggests that won't happen, then again our numbers will be less. The question does arise, and you raised the sort of question of the silver bullet there, George. What has driven this? And the answer is nobody really actually knows, and there's not one factor. Better education is thought to be an issue. So when they've done tests on 90-year-olds in the early 2000s and 90-year-olds in the early 2010s, even though it's a different group, what they found is that the second group did a lot better.
Okay.
So better education is good. If you keep fit and exercise, your body's in better state. It makes sense.
We're going back to the same story, Joe.
If you've been using your brain, it probably helps and makes a difference.
Yes.
Things like staying in the workforce, doing crossword puzzles, taking up new courses, things that challenge the mind. So exercising the brain, but like exercising the body, keeps it in better shape. Better nutrition is a factor. So compared to certainly pre-World War II and before. People do have better nutrition if they're getting that, and particularly in childhood when the brain is developing, that's a factor. Regular exercise is good for the brain. Better living conditions. There's a whole range of factors. It's not one specific factor. But what it does tell us is that rather than looking for silver bullets, we should be looking more as to, well, what can we do to enhance what is already happening? And these are, again, and we've spoken in other videos about lifestyle-related changes. Some are probably happening without us having to make too much effort, such as, better education and better living condition. But others, we could be doing more to find out about, are there particular foods that are likely to be helpful for the brain? And we know, seafood is good, berries seem to be good. So it always comes back to the sort of fairly similar basics.
Yes, and look, I wonder whether our quality relationships and how behaviorally flexible we are and adaptive to the environment, these things are allowing a brain to stay healthy because the way the brain's engaging the environment, it's not being put into high stress all the time, and it's achieving. It's if you overfry a brain with too much threatening environment because of the way you're relating to your relationships, surely that's going to put a lot of pressure on it and cause problems.
It's like if you're exercising and you're overtraining and you try and lift weights that are too heavy, you may well injure yourself. But lifting the right sorts of weights and doing it in the right way will help. So again, I mean, you've done work at times and ongoingly, George, people with brain training. So the concept really is, if we can keep the mind active, much in a similar way if we keep the body active, then that's going to be helpful for keeping us in good, brain health, for want of a better term, as years go by. It's never a force field. There are never any guarantees that things can't happen. What we can do, though, is make it more or less likely that we'll get afflicted with
Absolutely.
conditions.
The brain is incredible because I've watched it rewire around damaged areas and allow functionality to be recovered that really didn't belong in that part of the brain, yet it was achieved. And that's how amazing we are at the same time. We're incredibly resilient, but we have to honour the lifestyle choices and our relationships with how we engage life. And then health starts to be there for us when we do a good job of that, right?
Very, very much so. So the declining rates of Alzheimer's is good news. Unfortunately, you don't hear a lot of good news because good news isn't always that good for business.
You can make more profit out of the problem. We hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like Healthy Minded, please subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and share with your friends. Please put comments below whether you agree, disagree, if you've got topics you'd like for the future. And until next time, stay healthy minded.